Greetings, dear friends. It's Carrie at holisticspsychic.com and Soul Star Healing Arts Center in Sedona, Arizona. In case you haven't noticed, the energy's been super intense for the past few weeks as we're rolling out after these eclipses that we've just had. We do have a full moon happening in the sign of Aries coming up next Monday, October 6th. And so I'm coming on for those of you like me who love living in alignment with the natural energies of the cosmos and nature. I'm going to be talking about the astrology connected to this full moon, and of course, what it means for all of us and how we can best work with the energies to support whatever your goals are. In this video, we're about to learn why the energy has been so intense lately, how long it's going to last, and how to roll through it. To start with, I just want to share that the overall energy connected to this upcoming full moon happening in the sign of Aries is energizing fiery dedication to deep healing, setting the tone for new beginnings on the horizon with the help of heightened awareness illuminated by the full moon itself. So let's get into the details here. To begin with, just a little recap here about the full moon itself. So full moons are essentially the heightened illuminated state of each lunar cycle that happens each month. It's when the moon is fully illuminated to its heightened capacity. And because of that, the full moon represents heightened illumination and awareness within ourselves. And it illuminates our awareness around whatever we've been consciously or unconsciously working through during the current lunar cycle. Now, we're just coming out of eclipse season. We had a solar eclipse 2 weeks ago. Before that, 2 weeks prior, we had a lunar eclipse. We had two new moons in a row that were happening in the sign of Virgo, which in and of itself is a less ordinary occurrence. I have talked a little bit about that on previous videos, but we're going to talk about, these energies that are coming in now. And as I said, like what the intensities have been about, how long it's lasting, and how to work with it. So with this upcoming full moon is happening in the sign of Aries. The moon is in Aries, and it's opposite of the sun, which is in Libra. So let's explore this axis here. This axis between Aries and Libra is the axis of self or individuality versus other and relationship. So all of us collectively are navigating considerations for ourselves within this particular dynamic in your life. I would love to know how it's showing up for you. For many of us, because of the peripheral astrological energy connected to this full moon, it's gonna mean karmic endings to any type of relationship dynamic that has played its course, served its purpose, ready to move forward, ready to move on, which is connected to, in part, where the healing dynamic comes in. Now, I'm going to talk a lot more about all of these aspects that are connected to the full moon astrologically in a minute. But first, let me just say a little bit about the solar aspect of the sun in Libra. The sun also serves to illuminate our awareness. Anytime we have a full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite of each other. The moon, on one level, represents our deep inner intuitive self, while the sun represents our conscious awareness. So we can say that with each full moon, we have an opportunity for our conscious awareness to be illuminated by the deeper intuitive instincts that have been compelling us, nudging us, and guiding us. So the sun in Libra shines a light on the area of our life that has to do with how we relate with others, especially in long-term relationship. This doesn't have to be only romantic relationship. It can be friends, families, long-term business associates, but the overall theme, the overall vibe is one of coming into harmony, balance, and it is also about relationship mirrors. So sacred mirroring, especially because right now we're still in Libra season, but in a few weeks we're moving into Scorpio season. And we've got some planets in Scorpio now. I'm going to talk about this in a minute because this is bringing us into the best time of year for doing shadow work. So this full moon is kind of heralding us into that time by bringing opportunities for us to look at the relationship mirrors. Our relationships are our most sacred mirrors that can show us where we're in our empowerment and where we need healing. Relationships serve as sacred reflections towards one another. And when we can look at relationship dynamics with curiosity in the way of how can I learn more about myself through what this relationship or what this person is a reflection for me. A big component of this full moon is that dynamic. However, it's not just about relationship. In relationship, there's, typically two people, right? And one of those people is you. And so it's connected to your individuality, which is the Aries component of this full moon, your individual path, your sense of purpose, your sense of independent direction is a component that is being considered right now. As I said at the beginning, it's the dynamic between self and others, relationship and independence. Tying this into the backdrop of what's been going on with these eclipses that we're just transitioning out of. We had a solar eclipse on September 22nd in the sign of Virgo. And a few weeks before that, we had a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. Now, that axis, in and of itself, brings in considerations, soul growth opportunities that are connected to the axis of you being connected to your own deep soul guidance, which is the Pisces component, and how you are of sacred service in life, which is the Virgo component. Now, one of the things that is coming up now within this can also have to do with the shadow dynamics of both Pisces and Virgo. The shadow dynamic of Virgo is a lot about judgment and criticism of self and others, while the shadow component of Neptune is seeing things in illusionary and delusionary ways and unconscious self undoing. So these are the parameters in which we are working through as we come into this full moon, as it is supporting that deeper commitment to deep healing, leading to new beginnings on the horizon, which will be more activated in 2 weeks from now as we come into the new moon happening in the sign of Libra on October 22nd. Whatever it is that you have been navigating during the eclipse season that we're just coming out of, now is the time where we can have more clarity and awareness about forward movement from here. Okay, so this is where we get into the aspects connected to this full moon. I'm going to first talk about the aspects that are directly connected to the moon itself, which we have that opposition between the sun and the moon, which we've already talked about. We also have the planet Jupiter, which is the planet of growth, expansion, good fortune, and opportunity, making a square aspect to the moon in Aries. Now, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And so it's connected ultimately to new beginnings. And Aries is the archetype of the warrior energy. And we could say, your self determination, how you drive yourself forward, your sense of empowerment in your leadership. And with the square to Jupiter, it's awakening, inspiring an energy within us to shift into renewed enthusiasm, drive, and leadership, especially in the direction of our growth and our expansion. Now, Jupiter is in Cancer, which is a nurturing energy that is connected to home, roots, family, ancestry, your private life. So the growth and expansion that comes with Jupiter here, I feel brings an expanded sense of home. Home is where the heart is type of energy. I know for me, since Jupiter's been in Cancer, which has pretty much been the past several months already, since maybe the end of spring, beginning of summer, I've been traveling way more than usual, literally expanding my sense of home, expanding your sense of connection with your home of your spirit within yourself. So the square to Aries is also a lot about being true to ourselves, being true to the direction our inner compass is guiding us towards, which essentially is your intuition, which I'm going to talk more about in a little bit because we have some things connected to that. But first, since we're on Jupiter, I also want to say that Jupiter is making what's called a sextile aspect to Venus. So this is an opportunistic type of aspect. Venus is the planet of love, harmony, beauty. It's the ruling planet of Libra, which goes back to what we were talking about with relationships. So for as much as the energy now is a time of considering the sacred reflections and mirrors of relationship and how that might be connected to our independent path, matters of healing and empowerment, it's also a time where we can restore harmony within self love and harmony within relationships that are aligned with us. It's going to be out with the old, again, with relationship dynamics that have worn themselves out, served their purpose, no longer needed. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean in every case it's the end of an actual relationship with a person. It can just be the end of a particular dynamic that had happened or gone on between the two of you, where there's realizations of where it's no longer serving either of you. So definitely keep that in mind. And then that Venus is making a trine aspect to Pluto. Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's evolution, it's empowerment. So Venus trining Pluto can support us in harmoniously embracing and moving through opportunity for transformation, evolution, empowerment, however it shows up for you in your life. And this is a welcomed grace energy that's coming in because the energy connected to Pluto in the past few weeks has been a little more harsh, and there's going to continue to be some challenge energy there. Namely, since about September 24th-ish, Mars, which is the ruler of Aries and the planet of war, has been making a square to Pluto. This has been really harsh, dynamic, kind of head to head, disagreeable at times type of energy. It's people feeling edgy, people feeling confrontational, people being way too much in their head is what one thing I've noticed. And now, as we're coming into the full moon on the same day, Mercury goes into Scorpio, which Mars has been in Scorpio. Mars is also the traditional ruler of Scorpio along with Aries. And so Mars is the ruling planet of this full moon chart. It is continuing to be square of Pluto. Now, square aspects are challenge aspects. They're little checkpoints, they're check-ins. They're challenges that are meant to support our growth. So what's the growth opportunity here? It's maybe being more conscientious and deliberate around conscious responding, even in the moment of internally feeling triggered. It's opportunity for self-reflection and self-awareness around these things, especially now that Mercury is coming into Scorpio. Mercury is the planet of the mind, thinking, sharing ideas. It's the archetype of the messenger in shamanic astrology. And so with Mercury and Mars essentially eventually coming into a conjunction with each other in Scorpio, squaring Pluto, this does emphasize a combative, disagreeable energy where healthy debates can turn into heated arguments quickly. So being aware of this is the beauty and the benefit of keeping up with what's going on with the cosmic energies, is because when we're aware of it, we can work with it more consciously and not take the bait and not just unconsciously be, reacting in these triggery type of ways, but choosing in this case the more Venetian route, because Venus is also trining Pluto. So this is, where can we find peace? Where can I consciously choose to be in a beauty way? Love, harmony, and be an ambassador for that, even when I'm in the midst of edgy, disagreeable, combative energies around me. Pluto is also making a trine to Uranus, which is retrograde now through February 9th. 2026 in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so Uranus gives us access to higher awareness, heightened intuition, and a higher consciousness. And Uranus is the planet of revolutionary change. So this aspect between Pluto, which is evolution, and Uranus, revolution, change, transformation, says that the way forward is consciously tapping into our inner soul guidance, our intuition. In shamanism, it's called your second attention. Now, I'm going to mention this real quick here because recently here on my channel, I've had a lot of people commenting on one of the intuition videos I have about how they can work with their intuition more. So many of you may not realize that I actually have an entire playlist here on my channel. I'll link it around here. That's called Empowering Intuition. And in this playlist, I share insights. Some of them are actual excerpts from the online Mastering Intuition course that I have. I do actually specialize in teaching intuition as a professional psychic. I've been teaching intuitive development, psychic development since like 1996, guys. So I have a lot of insights to share with all of you who are sincere about being ready to step into the guidance of your intuition, which is considered to be one of the higher mental faculties, by the way. I encourage you to check out that playlist. I'm going to be uploading a new series of videos specifically to that playlist as we roll through fall and winter as well. And I welcome whatever questions you have about your intuition, how to develop it, how it works, and I will respond to those questions. But now is the time, really for the rest of this year. The main planets that have to do with change, which is Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, the outer planets that have collective influences on collective change, are all very much at play now for the rest of this year. And the nature of these planets are deep soul level type of awakening, healing, and transformation. Okay, so this is not superficial change. This is deep, soul stirring, stepping fully into who I am on my path and doing my healing work and coming out on the other side healed type of change. One of the things I haven't mentioned yet is that with the full moon, as the full moon transitions through Aries and into Taurus, it's going to conjunct and go past Chiron, which is in Aries. And Chiron is the archetype of the sacred wound, meaning that we all are here with a sacred wound to heal. And in healing what that wound is, we alchemize it to our sacred medicine. I've talked about that here on this channel before, meaning alchemizing your woundedness into how you can be of service as a healer in your own unique way, in your own little sphere of influence in the world, one way or another. That doesn't mean you have to become an energy healing practitioner professionally in order to be a source of healing, light, support, and inspiration in the world, in the lives of people that you touch. Okay? And so as the moon travels past Chiron, it is a part of what's activating that deep healing component. And in Aries, again, it's basically healing, clearing away whatever's long-standing issues have been standing in our way of shifting into new pathways, new ambitions in our empowered leadership, new beginnings, because that's what Aries is all about. Now, I also want to talk about we still have this conjunction between Saturn and Neptune. Saturn right now is in Pisces, and Neptune will be going into Pisces. It's retrograding back into Pisces on October 22nd. Okay, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, so it's about endings. It's also connected to the mystical dimensions of us. This is why, for the past many months, when I've been talking about this conjunction between Saturn and Neptune, I've been talking about power retrieval, soul retrieval, because this is the energy of us reclaiming our connection to our deep soul self. Gone are the days of finding fulfillment in superficial living, surface, superficial living. A part of our evolutionary process with humanity at large right now, that evolution is connected to really dropping into and being connected to the deep wisdom of our soul as eternal beings of light and showing up as that for yourself in your world. So that not only you can live in ways that bring deeper fulfillment, but letting your life be an example and a catalyst for others around you finding that within themselves as well. So I wanted to talk about Saturn a little bit more and Neptune. Saturn is the planet of responsibility, structure. It's manifestation energy. It also relates to time. On more 3D levels, it's governments, those types of structures as well. But with Neptune, it's self-responsibility towards our own soul evolution because Neptune is the planet that is connected to soul growth and again, the mystical dimensions of life. So as both of these planets are retrograding back into the last sign of the zodiac of Pisces, which is connected to our spirituality, it's reclaiming that part of us. And then they will both go direct again as we're coming into the beginning of 2026 and bringing us into new pathways, new opportunities, new beginnings to be able to be more, boots on the ground on our path in ways that are connected to our deepest, truest soul calling, especially with the nodes where they are right now between that Pisces and Virgo axis. If you want to know more about that Pisces Virgo axis that's been connected to the eclipses, watch the previous two videos that I made about the eclipses themselves, because the energy of the eclipses, it's not like, okay, we have an eclipse, boom, done, moving on. That energy rolls out for like the next 6 months until we have the next eclipse season, which is going to be 6 months from now. So it is in your best interest to learn a little bit about that. Now, how do you figure out specifically what it means to you? What you would do is you would take a look at your birth chart and look to see where the Pisces axis is, where the Virgo axis is in regard to the eclipses. And then with this particular full moon, it's okay, where's the Aries sector of my chart and where's the Libra sector of my chart? If you don't know any of that right now, definitely feel free to reach out to me and book a consultation with me. And I'm happy to book an astrological consultation with you in order for you to gain insight as to the growth opportunities that are being active for you right now, any pattern interrupts that might be going on, and again, how you can personally work with the energy yourself to support your growth goals at this time. Okay, and then, that's the big energies that are going on right now. And I want to close with giving us some empowerment practices that we can do to support us through these energies, working with them more consciously. One, I'm going to share just this little statement that I happened to see on Instagram the other day. I shared it to my story because it's so fitting with what the energies are now as we're coming into this full moon. And the statement is this: it's about practicing the art of detachment. Nothing belongs to me. It's all an experience. So a part of that Libra axis with Aries, with relationships, brings up issues of attachment and the sacred art of practicing detachment. In Buddhism, the saying is that attachment is the cause of all suffering. When we're attached to a particular outcome, a turn of events, whatever, a person, and then that doesn't go as we wished, that's where suffering happens. So in Buddhism, I'm not promoting Buddhism, I'm not a Buddhist, but in Buddhism, which is a tremendously beneficial, universal teachings about soul development, it's about practicing non-attachment. Nothing belongs to us. It's all an experience. So maybe contemplate on what that means to you. And then I'm going to leave you with some journaling prompts that you can do in alignment with the full moon in Aries and the sun in Libra, meaning we are in Libra season until the end of October. So this can be for really the next several weeks. You can be working with these journal prompts. For Libra season, the journal prompt: what's been out of balance in me and in my life? And how can I rebalance those things? How can I rebalance whatever's been out of balance in me, in my life? How can I, this is number 2, how can I support more harmony and balance in my life? How can you support that for yourself? What are some empowerment practices that you can do to support harmony and balance? And then with the full moon in Aries, here's 2 journaling prompts specifically for that energy. What areas of my life need a fresh start? And how can I step more fully into my self-leadership? On October 21st, we have a new moon in Libra, which new moons are more about new beginnings, fresh energies, fresh cycles. So having contemplation about what you're ready to bring a new start into in your life now will better prepare you for that energy of fresh start that is coming in the next few weeks as we come into that new moon. And then I'm going to close with this affirmation. The full moon invites us into our inner spiritual warrior nature, coming into our healing by standing strong in who we authentically are, while weaving our power into harmony, trust, and love. And I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to leave you with that. Please share whatever you'd love to share in the comments. I love hearing from you, and I love responding to what your questions are. So comment below. Let me know what the axis is this is happening for you, and I'm happy to shed some light. Okay, guys, all my love, blessings, namaste, and I'm going to see you around the corner in the next video. Be on the lookout for more videos to that Empowering Intuition playlist as well. Okay, bye.